Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching Channels Television, celebrating 21 years of professional broadcasting. This is the news at 10, a reminder of our major stories tonight. President Buhari vows to deepen and institutionalize the anti-corruption fight in Nigeria. Visiting U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry canvasses global action against corruption. Nigeria Labour Congress hits the streets across the country in protest, demanding justice over the killing of 2 workers in Nasarawa state. And Turkey steps up offensive against Islamic State militants in Syria. Do remember, all our top stories can be found on our websites, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on a mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Besides the news and updates, the Channels TV app has an eyewitness feature. We encourage you to use it to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu and follow the instructions. As deadline for the transition to digital transmission draws nearer, the Broadcast Organization of Nigeria is stepping up efforts to achieve a seamless change. To this end, the organization is urging its members to, among other things, embrace professionalism driven by technology. This formed part of the discussions at the 65th General Assembly of the organization in Lagos. Our correspondent, Oroluwa Shonibare, reports.
It's the 65th General Assembly of the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, and all the key players in the industry are here in Lagos to discuss ways of getting it right in the drive towards digital transition.
Because we're going to have a common result.
The theme, Broadcasting Scores, is aimed at taking stock of successes and failures. First up to speak on ways the broadcast industry can be improved is the chairman of the organization. To him, broadcasters must connect.
It looks as if some issues will not go away, except we determinedly and with a focus and a singularity of purpose confront them frontally. Members should continue to advocate for increased cooperation and collaboration among members in the areas of joint program production, news and programs exchange, capacity building and development.
With so much power to wield influence on audiences, a high level of caution needs to be exercised in broadcasting practice. And this is what the Director General of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission is advocating. In addition to ensuring that the content provided is what will take the digital transition to the next level.
A major development that will make the digital broadcasting experience meaningful in our country is the spiking of the process of indigenous content production. The digital revolution must be underscored by a booming digital economy that will open up accesses for millions of very creative young Nigerians working in content production and exploring ideas that will translate into the potentially lucrative digital broadcasting industry of the post-DSO era.
For this South African-based participant, there must be a fine blend between digital revolution and creativity to achieve desired results.
It's absolutely necessary to avoid the expropriation of cultural and moral values which form the basis of our national identities. To promote social inclusion, a space does need to be made in the digital migration process for the public and community free-to-air broadcasting, because they are the primary drivers of social inclusion on a terrestrial platform.
As quick as possible.
Next is the plenary session.
I'd like to start with what is digital broadcasting? I mean, you touched on it, but digital broadcasting, what does it mean? I mean, for us or for me in the industry, it means moving, of course, from analog to a world where content is now available through several media.
With digitization, there ought to be media inclusiveness. digitization of the media actually provides for interactiveness between the government and the people.
And then some counsel from those who know.
I'd like to advise that for us to be able to achieve full digital migration in a very short time, now it has to be a combination, as NBC knows, and as SCS knows, and as you know, satellites and terrestrial. And I want to suggest that terrestrial should be within the city, satellites in all the rural areas.
At the end of a highly interactive session, what participants hopefully will hold on to is, in the search for the best ways to pass information to the public, two key things must be upheld: ethics and professionalism. Oralu Ashonibare, Channels Television News.
Members of the Nigeria Labour Congress have staged a peaceful protest across several states against the killing of two of their colleagues by security operatives allegedly attached to the Nasarawa State Government House on July 29th. The aggrieved workers marched through major streets displaying placards with various inscriptions demanding a probe into the deaths, among other demands. The day was also set aside by the union to mourn their fallen comrades.
One could be tempted to think these people are here to enjoy a day out. But these members of the NLC are on a mission, bearing placards and walking at a brisk pace. They're demanding justice for two of their own who were killed during a protest against the salary slash in Nasarawa State. The General Secretary of the National Union of Textile, Garment and Tailoring Workers was also a National Executive Committee member of the NLC. Comrade Issa Aremu, who leads this protest, is asking President Buhari to call state governors to order.
Labor issues are on the exclusive list of the Constitution of Nigeria. No governor has the right to tamper with issues that affect wages and minimum wage in particular.
Union members in Osun State choose to mark the day with prayer in Osogbo, the state's capital, even as they call for the punishment of those responsible for their colleagues' killing. Clad mostly in black, members of the NLC in Imo State protest not just the death of their colleagues, but what they call obnoxious anti-worker policies of the state's government.
The Imo workers are today countering government claim that they have paid salaries up to July 2016 as no worker has received his or her true salary.
Beyond the reasons for the nationwide protest, the union in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, lists several concerns on its mind.
We want the government, number one, to address the issue of this gratuity and pension arrears to the retirees. Number two, for government to release the levy that they have deducted for 3 months to NLC.
Under heavy security, protesters make their way through the streets of Kaduna, the Kaduna State capital. The procession here is a more sober one. Demonstrators in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, seize the opportunity to plead with the government to pay their salary arrears. In the meantime, the Nasarawa State government has been speaking on allegations that it cut workers' salaries in the state. According to the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in the state, government only reviewed what it called the super bonuses of workers.
What has happened was a reduction or a review of the super bonuses that the government magnanimously gave the workers during the implementation of the minimum wage in 2011.
Members of the union are also unhappy with what they consider the arbitrary deployment of civil servants to farms in Imo and Benue states, calling the action unconstitutional.
Joining us now on the News at 10 to discuss the recent strike action is Head Protection and Investigation at the National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Lambert Opara. He is in our Abuja studio. Mr. Opara, thank you for joining us on the News at 10 tonight. We're seeing those protests from across the country, and this is despite an advisory from the NHRC to the NLC not to embark on a strike action. So what do you make of the protests going on across Nigeria?
Thank you, Amarachi. We have no problems with it. That's the National Human Rights Commission has no problem with the protest march by NLC. But what we are concerned about is specifically the Nasarawa situation, where we had already received a complaint from the NLC asking the National Human Rights Commission to intervene and investigate the killing, alleged killing of some workers in Nasarawa State and some others who were also injured. And so we had to issue an advisory when we got wind of the planned protest, one that is within the jurisdictions of the National Human Rights Commission to issue such advisory so that parties whose complaints are before the National Human Rights Commission are strongly advised to maintain peace and order so that to enable the National Human Rights Commission come up with acceptable findings in the complaints before it.
I take it if you're saying this, it means the investigations have already begun.
Yes, specifically on the 4th of this month, that's August, the NLC sent a strong worded petition to the National Human Rights Commission, urging it to investigate allegations of killings of workers in Nasarawa State, 2 of them, and they wanted the commission to intervene, and accordingly, the commission, under the mandate conferred to it by the National Human Rights Commission Act 1995 as amended, Section 5, admitted the complaint and commenced investigations. So investigations are ongoing. We have visited the NLC office here in Abuja. We have gone to Nasarawa State, interacted with the executive governor. We met with the Commissioner of Police, Nasarawa State, the NLC there in the state, and sent some other individuals that were alleged to be involved in that unfortunate incident. And so we thought that it is very, very proper not to do anything that will seem to jeopardize the effort of the Commission to find solution to this problem, not just because of the salary cut, but because lives are also involved here.
So I'm wondering, if the NHRC is also, involving the NLC in, the step-by-step investigations you're making, and despite that, the NLC has gone ahead with the strike action. So does that jeopardize investigations or your findings? Will that sort of hamper what's going on right now?
Well, I don't think the protest was also carried in Nasarawa State, specifically Lafayette. I'm not aware of that because our officers there monitored this. But we strongly advise NLC, and I'm sure the president of NLC and the secretary general were also aware of this. And we said that it is not proper to carry any planned protest in Nasarawa State specifically. And then because we feel that this could jeopardize the chances of the commission coming up with something that could be acceptable by all the parties. It's the rules under Section 67, 1 and 2, the standing order and rules of procedure of the commission. Parties whose complaints are before the commission are advised strongly to maintain peace and order, pending the outcome of investigations.
Mr. Lambert Opara, thank you so much for your time this evening. Mr. Lambert Opara, the head protection and investigation of the National Human Rights Commission. He was in Abuja. Still ahead on the news at 10, CBN suspends 9 deposit money banks from the foreign exchange market for non-disclosure of over $2 billion NNPC funds. We'll have more in business news. Please join us again.